Hello, I am Jan from Prague, Czech Republic, and this is a short review of Samsung Galaxy A53 5G. I will show you more than 100 test photos taken in 3 countries, the Czech Republic, Slovakia and Poland. Normally I use my full-frame camera or a personal iPhone 13 Pro, but because of my photo trainings I also borrowed this mid-range phone for about 6 months. And now I'd like to share some of my impressions. I have to admit that that review would be rather specific for me because I have tested many cameras and many cell phones over the last nearly 10 years, but I always had time only for the most advanced ones. So in a way, test of Samsung Galaxy A53 was a really challenge because I have never ever tested a mid-range cell phone before. Generally speaking, that illustration can give us the basic idea. So we have the main camera, which has 64 megapixels. Also, we have ultra-wide camera, which is useful, and macro camera. Well, I have to admit, testing front camera. Frankly, I do not care much about selfies. We will discuss the main camera that matters most for me, and it is actually quite important to know that, as you can see from that illustration, there is no telephoto lens. So basically any zooming would be done by a digital zoom. And let's see how it works. Here is a ultra-wide lens. This is the normal one, the main lens. That would be 2 times, 4 times and 10 times. And well, I have to admit, I was really surprised how well that works. Of course, if you are just experienced photographer, you would just see that the level of details is actually degraded and you probably in real life would not be using that photo. But it's not the point. The point is, yes, you can zoom even if you do not have a dedicated lens. And well, the results are not that bad as I expected. Let's move to another important camera, which is macro camera. It's quite popular among users and you can see the results are actually decent. But back to that illustration once again. Please do note that it has only 5 megapixels. And frankly, you can see if you just zoom to details of these little flowers, you'll just see that the quality really goes down. So my little warning would be, yes, do enjoy taking your macro photos, but do not be surprised if sometimes the quality would not be that amazing as you would expect. Obviously, that wouldn't be surprising that you find very typical features like portrait mode, as you can see here on that lovely dog, or we can test this on not only live animals or people, but also on that amazing statue of a bear. This is the version without portrait and this with portrait. And I have to say that when I was testing many cell phones over the last years, quite often the quality of portrait mode was rather dubious, and it is not the case here. I was really surprised that the results are really good. So don't be shy to use it, not only for people, but maybe for animals as well. And if you go to the other options, you'll be quite amazed how amazing is night regime, night mode. This is a photo from Poland, Krakow, and again, you just be really surprised that the quality is great, there's not much noise in the shot, and you can actually do amazing stuff like here. And obviously that cell phone can be used to record your videos, so I'm including a couple of examples how that works, how that operates. All these shots are recorded in 4K with 30 frames per second, so this is the highest available quality, and it's up to you to say if you like it or not, because I'm not experienced reviewer in that respect, but from my basic point of view, the results are very good as well. And now I'm just going to show you dozens of test photos. We can start in May with a beautiful forest just not far away from Prague. Obviously the colors of spring are just very intensive, very beautiful, so it's clearly to be seen from that footage. This is another location in the Czech Republic, the mountains of Moravia, and again, results are very good, but you can see the colors are slightly overblown sometimes, slightly more saturated than I think is correct. The same place, the same dog. This is quite tricky shot because we are taking it against the light. The dog is white, which complicates the matter. He is in the shadows. So, well, that's quite impressive result because the engine was able to fix all possible problems here. Let's move forward. More and more examples of what you can expect when you just venture into woods and want to capture some nice stuff. And here are some more examples of macro photography. And yes, these are not bad, but as I already mentioned, please do remember that sensor has only 5 megapixels, so the result just would not be as good as from the other lenses and sensors. And portrait mode in, well, I think quite decent fashion. Let's move to some festivities, amazing free day in the mountains of Moravia, and the results are again very good. But what you can again feel, or at least I do, is that the colors are slightly overblown. And let's jump to a celebration in a village in the mountains. Why I think this is quite important example is that again you can see the lenses in action. I have taken all these photos from one spot, and well, as a photographer I'm trying not to zoom too much with cell phones, but again the results, if you do not overdo it, are quite decent. Only when you zoom too much, you'll see obviously that the digital zoom can't do this properly. But again, if you have two options, take no photos or take something like this, so I think that for some people that would not be that terrible result at all. So do not be shy to zoom if you need it. And let's move from Moravia to Slovakia and see a couple of landscape photos from amazing national parks of Slovakia. And I think these photos do not actually need much of commentary. We can just watch and see what we get here. And again, I have to say, obviously, when I compare the results with the footage from iPhone from the other pocket of my trousers, then the iPhone would obviously have better results. But it costs maybe 3 or 4 times more. So I think it is fair to say that, well, given the price, the Samsung Galaxy A53 does really good job. Again, comparison of a normal photo and a macro detail of the flower. Well, not bad, I guess. And some more pictures from lovely trip. And now one more stop in Poland. It was an amazing foggy morning in these stables just outside of Krakow, and I really liked it. And I have to admit, I really liked the results Samsung was able to achieve. And let's jump to the streets of Krakow and see how that cell phone would behave in a typical touristic situations like this. And I again have to admit the results were decent. When I was testing similar cell phones years ago in situations like this, when I would be pointing my camera towards the sun, the results just would be, you know, overblown. There would be much of distortion and I just wouldn't like it. But that again is a surprise. A couple of more shots from the main square in Krakow, and perhaps just see what to expect from that sort of complications when you have horses which are in shadow, you have a direct sunlight, you have blue sky, and again I think this is pretty decent result. So I really think that these devices are really improving itself a lot over years. And details from amazing cathedral in Krakow, and a very interesting, very typical example of ultra-wide lens and ultra-wide sensor. Well, it's just amazing. And now, just to finish our trip to Poland, shots of Krakow in night. And again, I was surprised how well that night regime would be working in these rather extreme situations. So, if I should sum it up, my summary would be that it gives you a very good results for decent money, I guess. So I think if you are not extremely demanding photographer, you would be pleased. So thank you so much for your attention. I hope I gave you some ideas, I gave you some inspiration. My name is Jan from Prague, Czech Republic. Take care and good luck.